Diddy and Jay-Z's connection to Aaliyah's death is being exposed for everyone to see, and allegedly, Aaliyah's case is being reopened after the new case against Jay-Z. Did Beyoncé, Jay-Z, and Diddy really murder Aaliyah?
The plane crash that killed a rising star in the world of music and film. Reaction today after Aaliyah and 8 others were killed when their plane went down. Good evening, I'm Lauren Glassbergen for Sandra Bookman.
And I'm Tim Fleischer. The plane, just after taking off for Florida in perfect weather, suddenly plummeted to the ground. Investigators now saying one of the engines apparently failed. Along with 8 passengers, Aaliyah, a young Brooklyn native and a talented singer and actress. Jeff Roston is live in Times Square with more on her life. Jeff.
And Aaliyah had a huge following not only here in New York City, but nationwide. Only 22 years old, this pop sensation was a popular singer. She was an actress in some movies recently, even a Grammy nominee. Tonight, her family is in mourning, fans asking, why her? Relatives in shock outside Aaliyah's home on the Upper West Side. The R&B star lived here at the Century, Central Park West and 63rd. She was on a small plane heading to Florida from the Bahamas, where she was shooting a music video.
Diddy and Jay-Z first became friends in the early 90s and soon began to take over the music industry. Their collaboration first started in 1997 when the pair collaborated on a track that landed on No Way Out, Diddy's debut studio album. Interestingly, however, it seems like they were collaborating on much more than just music. In 1999, both Jay-Z and Diddy got involved in legal trouble after Jay-Z pled guilty to stabbing, while Diddy was involved in a shooting that resulted in the death of a bystander. 2 years later, Aaliyah, someone that Jay-Z had openly been pursuing ever since she was underage, died, and fans are now starting to connect the dots.
Biggie died, Tupac died, and then there was the fight between who was the top rapper now, Nas and Jay-Z, and then the next thing you know, Nas has a nervous breakdown and he's taken out of the game, and it's all Jay-Z.
It's all Jay-Z.
It's all Jay-Z. And he was working with R. Kelly, and they were making so many records together. You know, they made all of those records together. They both fucked Aaliyah. They shared so much in common.
Unnecessary court fees and litigations because Jay-Z wants me broken, stopped, or under his control. And it ain't gonna happen, Sean. I'm never gonna be under your control. Never. You need to learn how to control your wife and her friends and their mouths. Because you got Beyonce in the Beehive looking real fucking dumb right now. 5 million unfollowed, and that number's gonna go up with every image in one of those freak-off tapes. And God help, if anybody here, how that bitch really talks about people with her, they'll start unfollowing by the tens of hundreds. Again. And they should. Because the truth is, the only reason they were following was because of the witchcraft and the spells that were being pushed out through the media. Y'all ain't fans because y'all really love them and y'all really think they're the best. You're fans because you fell for the hype. And they are hypes. I know I can sing. I've been able to do that my whole life. And they've been trying to stop me my whole career. Because see, unlike Beyonce, I'm not willing to hurt people to get famous. See, that's the part of the story that they're not telling y'all. That the more terrible you are, the more they'll protect you.
R. Kelly, now a convicted rapist, was allegedly in a relationship with Aaliyah, and Jay-Z was trying to hook up with her too. At the time, Aaliyah was one of the most talented artists that the industry had ever seen, going double platinum with just her second album at the age of 16. 2 months after her third album, however, Aaliyah sadly died in a plane crash while coming back from the Bahamas under extremely suspicious conditions. There were reports that Aaliyah's toxicology report revealed that she had been drugged before being boarded the plane, and that her plane was damaged even before the flight. Around the same time of her death, rumors were slowly starting to come out that Aaliyah and Jay-Z were in a relationship when Aaliyah was just 19 and Jay-Z almost 31.
Jaguar Wright alleged that Jay-Z is involved in the trafficking with Diddy. She explains that Jay-Z is directly involved or he has aided and abetted Diddy doing this over the years. And we know Jag just took the internet by storm by explaining that Jay-Z actually did this to Rihanna when she was 16 years old and he signed her to Def Jam. And I mean, everyone has been talking about this. Where is Jay-Z now that all of this has happened to Diddy? Because before this, they were the best of friends. You would always see them together. And I mean, even 50 Cent is calling this out. And Jag has said for the longest, once all this information about Diddy comes out, Jay-Z will be next because you can't keep everything concealed like you think you can. And the cookies are crumbling all around them because now the Dream has been sued for the same exact things that Diddy has. And when you read this lawsuit, some of the things being alleged in this lawsuit against the Dream are so similar to the lawsuits with Diddy. And the Dream has worked for Jay-Z and his artists like Beyonce and Rihanna for years. The Dream actually wrote a lot of songs for Beyonce's Renaissance album, and in 2020 he actually won a Grammy for this. And Jag explained now what we need to do is get all these other victims to actually come forward and explain things that happened to them, because if not, they're going to end up going missing.
Sean Carter is responsible for enacting Hype Williams to put Aaliyah on a faulty plane to move her out the way as punishment for rejecting him, and so he could level up Beyonce, who was struggling. Let's just say allegedly that happened. Now I want you to think about 106th and Park with Mary J. Blige. Free, who is a victim of Sean Carter.
Yeah.
Mary J. Blige, who is a victim of Sean Combs, are sitting there talking about the death of Aaliyah amongst each other. Think about that. You got a Diddy victim, you got a Jay-Z victim, and you got a superstar gone. They know what happened. And yet, they had to sit there and have that conversation like they didn't know who did it.
Jaguar Wright, a person who actually worked with Jay-Z during the same time that these allegations came out, says that everyone who was close to Jay-Z and Beyonce knew that Jay-Z had orchestrated Aaliyah's murder. Beyonce was worried that Aaliyah might overtake her, and Jay-Z hated that Aaliyah had rejected him.
Patient for me, because for 4 years, I've been screaming, not just Diddy, but Diddy and Jay-Z are monsters. And the victim-making machine kept going on.
Jay-Z has been notable by his silence since these charges were brought against Diddy. Why do you think that is?
Because that's what he does. He starts little fires everywhere, forces everyone involved to go and carry water while he sneaks away without a response. That changes now, Sean. You must respond. You have no choice. Harvey Weinstein, Jeffrey Epstein, Robert Kelly, Sean Combs have one person in common, professionally and privately. Sean Carter. This has been a fist of tyranny that has been punching through our culture and our society for decades. It must stop.
There's been obviously a lot of
cruelty-free artistry.
Right, there's been a lot of rumor mill about what has happened in the rap world. A lot of allegations that the misogyny in the lyrics clearly was based on a general misogyny towards women away from the music. And that clearly seems to have been borne out by these charges against Diddy, which if he's found guilty of all this, he's never coming out of prison. How dangerous do you think?
Thank God.
How dangerous do you think he is as a person?
I think he's one of the most dangerous people I've ever met. A lot of people have been questioning, well, she doesn't really know him. She has no knowledge of him. She doesn't have a picture with him. I'm smarter than Claudia Jordan. I would never take a picture with the devil. Everyone knew he was the devil. He's been the devil for 30 years. He's been covered and protected by not only Clive Davis, but Lucian Grange. He was selected to be the demon that he is, to keep the culture in line so the industry could continue to rape it for all of its precious jewels. We have too many lost. The list of lost is ridiculous, and everyone knows Diddy was selected for this job.
There were reports that R. Kelly had actually married Aaliyah in secret and was raping her. Dame Dash, co-founder of Rockefeller Records, talked about Jay-Z's relationship with R. Kelly and how he enabled his abuse in a recent podcast episode. Dame Dash actually stopped being friends with Jay-Z because of what he did to Aaliyah and because of being friends with R. Kelly.
Do you have any opinion on the R. Kelly situation? Do you think he got railroaded, or he's where he belongs?
Yeah, I think he's where he belongs. I mean, I know Aaliyah, so I know what he did. I can't be objective about that.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah, he definitely seemed like he needed some help.
You ever have beef with R. Kelly while you was with Aaliyah? Did you ever hang on to no shit or get weird? Or?
Nah, she had asked me to leave it alone completely. So she never really wanted to tell me. It was like things I'd be like, yo, she just was just leave it alone. She just wanted it left alone. So that's the thing that people would be like when Jay was doing videos with him, I was be in the video, but I'd be like, yo, what do you want me to do? And she'd be like, don't start nothing, just don't be in no shots with him. So I would never, you show me a picture of me in a picture with him and shit. Mm. And then when he did the record with Jay, that's why I was that was almost like one of the things where I was just like, he's out of here, Jay. I just let it go because I couldn't believe he did a project with her, with R. Kelly, knowing that he had my girl. You know what I'm saying?
Dame Dash said that everyone in the industry was after Aaliyah, and when Aaliyah decided to get with him instead of Jay-Z, that's what angered Jay-Z the most. The plane that Aaliyah was supposed to be on was taken by Hype instead, and Aaliyah knew that there was something wrong with her plane. Dame was speaking out about all of this 10 years ago, but no one took him seriously.
I didn't even know it was Aaliyah when I saw her. I was like, who the fuck is that? She just looked mad good. That picture that everybody puts up, and it's like a Puff's party, and we're all on the bed and all that other shit, pause, but like the big pictures, that's the night that we made it happen. So that's where I left, and that's where my life changed dramatically. Yeah, that day, that's when it happened. I was, like I said, me and homeboy was both getting at her. It was like one of us is gonna win, and I won.
So Jay, he was trying to get at her too.
Yeah, everybody knows that. He was going hard. It was Aaliyah. Everybody was going at Aaliyah. That's why it hurt so much when I was the one that got to get with her, but I wasn't even thinking I was gonna fall in love. But she just was too ill. She's too cool.
Was he feeling the type of way when you made it official with her?
Yeah, but I didn't want to do that to him, bro. Obviously, you see you see what happened. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I would say so. His friends get with him.
Right. So what I do want to ask you about Aaliyah, what was the situation with Hype Williams where, he took her plane and she had to take the plane that he was using? Like, what happened with that?
No. She was in Miami, and the video was supposed to be in Miami. And I had told her, I was like, Hype does this thing where he'll act like he needs more days just so he can get paid more. And don't let him do that. And then, all of a sudden she comes back and was like, he wants to go to the Bahamas. I was like, I told you he was going to do that. And what I had heard was that, what I was told was she was supposed to be on Lenny Kravitz's jet, but he offered it to her. And you could ask Lenny Kravitz, I guess. And Hype took it and had her on that plane.
Yeah, they should. I mean, she'll still be here. If she was on the plane she was supposed to be on.
I said a lot of things years ago, and they all realized themselves later. But the things that I found appalling for some reason 10 years ago, no one found them appalling when they were happening. It took for everyone to get busted for people to find it appalling. But no one ever says when they don't have to, because nobody really gives a I've seen that firsthand. But once it becomes popular opinion, that's when everybody's appalled. You know, that's when they pay attention. That's when Dame was right again. But wrong in the moment, overreacting in the moment, but 10 years later, I was dead right. It's, again, another behavior pattern, a human trait that I don't even judge people for anymore.
Industry insiders, including 50 Cent, always knew that there was something up with Jay-Z and Diddy. In a recent interview about his upcoming docuseries, Diddy Do It?, 50 Cent said that he had been saying since the start that Jay-Z's silence over the Diddy situation was suspicious. And now with the lawsuit against him, it's all being proven true.
Speaking of, in particular, Netflix docuseries that you've been working on, Diddy Do It?
Right.
You've been saying for years that you feel you knew Diddy's character.
Right.
Yet you've said you weren't a part of that lifestyle, you weren't going to the parties. So what makes you so absolutely sure that these kinds of allegations that we've seen against him are true?
Well, I'm surprised by the allegations, as surprised as everyone else is. Like, I didn't make the allegations. I didn't tell people to say these things. It comes out, I see it in the news like everyone else. But I did feel uncomfortable with the way you represent the idea of going to these projects.
To come party with me.
Yeah. And then that swayed me away from it. Just that alone.
So you didn't realize
as much stuff was coming. Like, when I seen today, it was allegations of 3 men that said he drugged them, and it's a long time, to be honest with you. Like, when people don't remember being violated for 20 years, it makes me feel a little hard.
What are your thoughts on the allegations against Jay-Z?
That was interesting. When I was saying things, not knowing exactly what I was saying, but I was going with, like, where's Jay at? He's mad quiet. Like while the Puffy thing was going on. But it's obvious now that his team was being made aware that he was in those allegations also. You know, so I hope it works out, because with his family, the things that go on internally those accusations are crazy.
On the 9th of December, a civil lawsuit was filed by lawyer Tony Busby against rapper Sean Carter, or Jay-Z, alleging that Carter had been involved in the alleged rape of a 13-year-old Jane Doe, along with Sean Diddy Combs. The victim, who is autistic and now a mother of 2, claims that Diddy and Jay-Z raped her at an after-party following the MTV Video Music Awards in New York City. Allegedly, she is prepared to come forward and even submit to a polygraph test.
Busby say about Jay-Z, the artist, the businessman? Well, the complaint begins. Defendant Sean Combs, along with his longtime friend and collaborator Sean Carter, drugged and raped a 13-year-old girl at an after-party following the 2000 Video Music Awards. Another celebrity stood by and watched as Combs and Carter took turns assaulting the minor. Many others were present at the after-party but did nothing to stop the assault. Combs had been allowed for years to conduct himself in this manner without any consequences. He believes he is above the law. He is not. His close friend Sean Carter has been with Combs during many such instances described herein. Both perpetrators must face justice. So that seems to suggest that Sean Carter, Jay-Z, was not only present or participated in this alleged, what is essentially a crime, but for other instances. And that's really interesting. That's why I bring up this idea of, could he be hit with more lawsuits if you take these allegations as true? Now, the complaint goes on to say, Combs and Carter were not simply occasional collaborators in the music industry. The two men developed a close friendship that has been well documented from the late 1990s to the present. Together, they attended countless music industry events for each other's business ventures, parties, and after-parties. Indeed, the two are apparently so close that Combs stated in 2023 that Carter is the only person, other than Combs' mother, who is allowed to call him by his legal first name of Sean. In 2000, near the height of their fame, power, and influence, Combs and Carter attended the 2000 Video Music Awards in New York City. Afterwards, Combs hosted an after-party for many of the most famous celebrities in the music and entertainment industries, including Carter, which is where the events alleged in this complaint occurred. I should also say that Busby also used this complaint to address an alleged harassment campaign that he claims Jay-Z started after Busby reached out about his involvement in the suit. The complaint reads, Carter was identified in plaintiff's original complaint as Celebrity A. Prior to the filing of this amended complaint, Carter received a letter from plaintiff's counsel requesting a mediation to resolve this matter. Upon present information and belief, Jay-Z responded to said letter by not only filing an utterly frivolous lawsuit, the one that I mentioned before, but by also orchestrating a conspiracy of harassment, bullying, and intimidation against plaintiff's lawyers, their families, employees, and former associates in an attempt to silence plaintiff from naming Jay-Z herein. This effort was meant to scare plaintiff and to discredit her counsel. That effort failed. Indeed, plaintiff chose to file this amendment as a result of the egregious conduct perpetuated by Carter.
The details of the case against Diddy and Jay-Z are shocking. They show clearly just how dangerous both these individuals are and how they would do anything to get what they want. More importantly, this case proves that Diddy wasn't working alone. The people at his parties knew what was going on, and they not only let all of this happen, but also helped Diddy and Jay-Z escape prosecution.
Inside the building, plaintiff recognized many celebrities as she entered what appeared to be a large living room or foyer containing a large crowd. Plaintiff attempted to mingle in the crowd and talk to several of the celebrities that she recognized and whom she wanted to see at the VMAs. Waitstaff circulated throughout the room, carrying trays of drinks, and loud music played throughout the venue. Plaintiff observed widespread drug use, including marijuana and cocaine. After attempting to talk to numerous celebrities, plaintiff accepted a drink from one of the waitresses, circulating the crowd. The drink was a reddish-yellow mixture that tasted like orange juice, cranberry juice, and something bitter. After drinking just a portion of that drink, plaintiff began to feel woozy and lightheaded, making her need to lie down. A photograph of an actual exemplar container used by Combs and/or his agents/employees to insert GHB into alcoholic drinks is seen below, and these are the photos included in the lawsuit that show a small plastic container that the plaintiff claims contained drugs at the party. The woman, remember, who claims she was 13 at the time, says she felt woozy and went to look for a place to lay down. Soon after, Combs entered the room along with defendant Carter and a female celebrity, Celebrity B. Plaintiff immediately recognized all three celebrities. Combs aggressively approached plaintiff with a crazed look in his eyes, grabbed her and said, "You are ready to party." Combs then threw plaintiff toward a wall, causing plaintiff to fall. Plaintiff got up and stumbled, at which point Combs grabbed her again and threw her on the bed. At that point, Carter began removing plaintiff's clothes as she grew more and more disoriented. Plaintiff was held down by Carter as he vaginally raped her, while Combs and Celebrity B watched. After Carter was finished, he stepped back toward the wall. Combs then stepped forward and vaginally raped plaintiff while Carter and Celebrity B watched. Combs then knocked plaintiff down and attempted to force plaintiff to perform oral sex on him. She fought back, standing up quickly and punching out at the same time, hitting Combs in the neck. Taken aback, Combs stopped his attempt.
Tapes showing Diddy, Jay-Z, and other celebrities are now in FBI custody, and it's only a matter of time before the biggest sex trafficking ring in the history of Hollywood gets exposed. These tapes were handed over to the FBI by Courtney Burgess, a close friend of Diddy's ex-wife, Kim Porter.
And those statements include descriptions of what the witness says he saw on those tapes. So I asked him about that, and he answered what he could, given the limitations imposed on him after testifying before the grand jury. Out of those 8 videos, 8 celebrities, 6 men and 2 women, how many of those 8 celebrities were close to being underage or potentially underage?
2 males.
2 males. And of those 8 celebrities, how many of them were intoxicated or under the influence of drugs?
This is going to be all speculation. I just want to preface it by he wouldn't know if they were. Right.
Sure.
Appear to
Let
be.
me rephrase it.
Based on, yes.
Understand. Out of the 8 celebrities who were recorded having intimate relations with Sean Combs, how many of them appeared to be either inebriated or intoxicated or under the influence?
All of them. All of them.
Out of those 8, how many appeared to be potentially victimized? How many might have been victimizing?
I think all, to be honest, all.
Were were victims
They
or
victims.
were perpetrating?
Victims.
They were all 8 were victimized,
Yeah,
meaning
victim.
this was happening to them and they were inebriated.
Right. Not knowing, I guess, how much proof it was in it, what they was doing.
The victim, identified as Jane Doe, also recently gave an exclusive interview to NBC News where she detailed what Diddy and Jay-Z did to her. The woman's testimony includes details that only someone who has been to Diddy's freak-off party could have known. She named specific celebrities that were present at this party, along with reports of what the venue looked like from the inside. Interestingly, she also knows the identity of Diddy's driver, who allegedly told her she fit Diddy's type.
You should always advocate for yourself and be a voice for yourself. You should never let what somebody else did ruin or run your life.
A 38-year-old mother from Alabama who has filed a lawsuit accusing Sean Diddy Combs and Jay-Z of raping her when she was 13 years old is speaking out to NBC News for the first time. She asked us not to reveal her identity.
What made you want to come forward and talk today?
Because I think that I've been quiet long enough about what I've been through, and it's been hard enough to be quiet. But it's a chapter of my life that I'd like to close.
You weren't scared to be all alone?
No, with having autism is like feeling like you live your life in a shatterproof juggle ball. The world's on fire. The fire is inside the ball with you, but there's no way for you to get out.
In addition to having autism, the woman says she suffered a head injury. The night of the 2000s VMAs, she says a friend drove her from Rochester, New York to Manhattan, a more than 5-hour drive. Her attorney provided NBC News with the name of the friend who has since died. The woman says she spoke to Combs' limo driver, who offered her a ride to an after party.
I stumbled upon Diddy's driver, who told me that I was exactly what Diddy was looking for.
What did you think when he said that to you?
I thought it meant that I was just pretty.
She went to a White House, she says, where she spoke to musicians Benji Madden and his brother.
I'm talking to Benji Madden about his tattoo because, I have about his tattoo that's the Last Supper, because I have a religious background. So it was just something to talk about.
At the after party, she says she had a drink that made her feel woozy. Then she says Combs and Carter took turns raping her while a female celebrity watched.
JC comes in and rapes me. He at that point I was fighting, trying to get away from him, and he put his hand over my mouth and told me to stop it, cut the
After the alleged rape, she says she ran to a gas station where she called her father, who picked her up and drove her home.
We rode home in silence. He didn't ask me what happened. He didn't ask me what I did or where I was.
Diddy's ex-party planner, Tanya Wallace, and Harvey Levine, the executive producer of TMZ, are also among the few people who have confirmed the existence of Diddy's freak-off tapes. Both of them have actually seen the tapes, and Tanya was even present at several of Diddy's parties. She claims that she saw a group of adults gathered around minors. These minors were being sexually assaulted by these celebrities, but no one did anything to stop it. Harvey Levin, on the other hand, says that the tape he saw also showed people having a threesome with minors.
And I want to start with Tanya Wallace, who claims she's been at a freak-off and said she saw children, and it was hard for her to say it.
It was very hard for her to say it, Ashley. So what she said was that she was flown out from LA to Miami by the Saudi prince. And they ended up eventually on Star Island at one of Diddy's parties. She says, among many other things, she goes into detail. This, she says, happened in 2018. She says that she walked into the house and there was a cluster of adults around what she described as little people. and they were dressed up as Japanese Barbies. I forgot the name. It's Harak something. You can help me out here. It's a certain type of Barbie. Anyway,
I know the name, but I've forgotten it. But go ahead.
So she explained that that they were just clustered around these little people, and I kept pushing her, and she eventually said, "Look, they are little people who should not be at an adult party." And I pushed her, and it was apparent what she was saying is they were minors. Now, she didn't see anything specific that was going on with them other than that adults were kind of huddled around them. But she told just a wild story about what was going on at the house, even at 7 a.m, that this thing apparently raged all night long.
You know, it's amazing. TMZ always gets such great scoops, and this one might be one of your best as well. You got a hold of one of the freak-off tapes. Your producers have seen it. The description is, and I'll quote, "It's porn directed by Diddy himself." And a male sex worker really sort of walks through what happened in the experiences that he had. They didn't sound illegal, but they sure seem to comport with a lot of the other stories that have been told.
Yeah. So the this was a threesome. What you had asked me about earlier about Tania Wallace, she said there were more than 100 people at that party, including at least 4 celebrities. But this, what you're talking about now, was a threesome, and that's something that the U.S. attorney even referenced, and his lawyer in an earlier documentary we did. He was describing threesomes. He says it was all consensual. So yes, what we're told is that this male sex worker was flown out to various locations over a couple of years: Miami, New York, Los Angeles, and one other. And they would meet in hotel rooms, and Diddy would often watch as he would have sex with this woman who was associated with Diddy. So that seems to be what the feds are looking at right now in terms of alleged sex trafficking, if they are transporting somebody and perhaps paying them to cross state lines. That could end up being part of sex trafficking. We know that this guy got a subpoena, and he ended up not testifying before the grand jury, but talking to prosecutors, and we're told that he left that tape with them.
As more evidence comes to light, the shocking connections between some of the biggest names in the industry and Aaliyah's untimely death are harder to ignore. With new allegations, reopened cases, and damning testimonies surfacing, it seems like the walls are closing in on Diddy, Jay-Z, and others. Do you think justice will finally be served? Or will these powerful figures manage to silence the truth yet again? Share your thoughts in the comments below.